Good morning, dear students. Today we are learning a new lesson, unit number 9. So, here we are going to see how a bicycle in good repair. So, how a poet, a writer is repairing a bicycle. So if you wish to go on a long bicycle ride, so if you want to go on a long bicycle ride, the bicycle should be in good condition if possible. An expert mechanic should overhaul it. But what happens if the machine has a will of its own and the mechanic knows next to nothing? If what happens sometimes we think we can do everything. So we ourselves try to do something. But sometimes what happens? We can't be a mechanic by ourselves. Okay? We can't do anything like that. So here let us go through what happens. The author invites his one of the if author is invited by one of his friend for a long bicycle ride. But when author reaches at home, what his friend was doing, and he is losing on many parts of it and they won't be able to go for a ride. A man I knew proposed one evening we should go for a long bicycle ride together on the following day. And I agreed. I got up early for me. I made an effort and I was pleased with myself. He came half an hour late. I was waiting for him in the garden. It was a lovely day, he said. That's a good looking machine of yours. How does it run? So author got up very early. He prepared himself and he was very happy that someone has offered him to go for a bicycle ride. Oh, like most of them, I answered, easily enough in the morning, goes a little steeply after lunch. So in the morning, my bicycle is running very good. But in the afternoon, it goes is little bit stiffly. He caught hold of it by the front wheel and the fork and shook it violently. What did the other friend do? He took a fork and he shook the front wheel, thinking that he is a mechanic, so why can't it run very smoothly? I said, don't do that. You will hurt it. I did not see why he should shake it. It had not done anything to him. Besides, if it wanted shaking, I was the proper person to shake it. I felt much as I should have. He started waking my dog. He said, this front wheel wobbles. The front wheel is wobbling means unsteadily from side to side. Wobbling means moving unsteadily, not very steady. So it is moving side by side. So it is not good. So let's prepare. I said if you don't wobble it. So don't move it. Otherwise surely it will shake it. It didn't wobble. As a matter of fact, nothing worth calling a wobble. He said, this is dangerous. Have you got a hammer? I ought to have been firm, but I thought that perhaps he really did not know something about the business. So the author was lot of worried. He didn't know what to do and what to say to this person. So he thought, let him do sometime what he likes. But it was not like that. And he was not knowing anything about this business. I went to the tool shed to see what I could find. When I came back, he was sitting on the ground with the front wheel between his legs. So we can see in the picture, okay, we can see in the picture that when the author is coming with the tools, his friend is sitting with the bicycle front wheel, twiddling it round between his fingers. The remnant of the machine was lying on the gravel path beside him. He said, "It looks to me as if the bearings were all wrong." I said, "Don't you trouble about it anymore. You will make yourself tired. Let us put it back and go off." So, the author is telling, you don't trouble yourself much. You put it back and let us go for a bicycle ride. So let's what happens. Let us see. He said, "We may as well see what is the matter with it. Now it is out." He talked as tough it had dropped out by accident. Before I could stop him, he had unscrewed something somewhere and out rolled over the path some dozen or so little balls. So, you know all about the bicycles because you all are riding a bicycles. So you know everything about it. And what happens? Same thing happened. He didn't know anything about and he dropped out all the balls and everything and it was rolling down. "Catch him!" he shouted. "Catch him! We mustn't lost any of them." He was quite excited about them. We grovelled round for half an hour and found 16. He said he hoped we had got them all, because if not, it would make a serious difference to the machine. I put them for safety in my head. It was not a sensible thing to do, I admit. So, author is telling it was not a very sensible thing for a person to do it, because the person was not knowing anything about the machine. Okay, so comprehension check we will be doing together with the exercise. Let us continue with the lesson. Okay, he then said that while he was about it, he would see the chain for me, and at once began taking off the gear case. I did try to dissuade him from that. I told him what an experienced friend of mine once said to me solemnly: "If anything goes wrong with your gear case, sell the machine and buy a new one. It comes cheaper." So, the one of my author is telling, one of my friend has told me, if something happens to your gear machine, you can change it, you can buy it another one, because it comes in a very cheap way. So don't touch it and do it anything. He said people talk like that who understand nothing about machine. So the friend of the author is showing that he knows everything. Okay, but the author is not so happy. Nothing is easier than taking off a gear case. I had to confess he was right. In less than 5 minutes, he had the gear case in 2 pieces, lying on the path, and was growling for screws. He said it was always a mystery to him the way screws disappeared. So always it was a mystery for him. Whenever he has repaired any bicycle, the screws are moving somewhere. Common sense continued to worship to me, whispered to me, "Stop me him before he does any more mischiefs. You have a right to protect your own property from the ravages of a lunatic." Okay, what is the meaning of it? Damaged. Lunatic means made a mad person. Okay, so the author is telling it was thinking in our mind, so we should always protect our things from a mad people. Take him by the scruff of the neck and kick him out of the gate. But I am weak when it comes to hurting other people's feeling, and I let him model on. So the author was telling, I was very much upset, but I don't like to hurt anybody. So I kept quiet to myself and consoled myself and made him to do what he liked. But I am weak. He gave up looking for the rest of the screws. He said screws had a knack of turning up when you least expert them, and that now he would see to the chain. He tightened it till it would not move. Next, he loosened it until it was twice as loose as it was before. Then he said, we had better think about getting the front wheel back into its place again. So, after getting a little bit tired, he said, now let us get back to the tire back on his place. He held the fork open and he worried with the wheel. At the end of 10 minutes, I suggested he should hold the fork and I that should handle the wheel, and we changed the place. At length, we did get the thing into position, and the moment it was in position, he burst out laughing. I said, what's the job? He said, well, I am an ass. It was the first thing he had said that made me respect him. I asked him what had let him do the discovery. He said, we have forgotten the balls. I looked for my head. It was lying stuffy, truly in the middle of the path. He was of a cheerful disposition. He said, well, we must put back all we can find and trust to Providence. So, when they were putting what they were putting? They were putting the wheels back. They understood that they have not put the wheels which they had collected in the head. So, the other's friend said, oh, I am a what he said? I am a ass. So other was very happy. Okay? The other was very happy. He did not understand what to do with that. He found 11. We fixed 6 on the one side and 5 on the other. And half an hour later, the wheel was in its place again. It need hardly be added that it really did wobble now. A child might have noticed it. He said it would do for the present. So again, they found 11, 6 one side, the 5 other side. And they were thinking, what shall we do now? I said, watching you do this is of real use to me. It is not only your skill that fascinates me, it is your cheery confidence in yourself, your inapplicable hopefulness that does me good. Thus encouraged, he set to work to refix the gay case. He stood the bicycle against the house and worked from the offside. Then he stood it against a tree and worked from the onside. Then he held it for him while he lay on the ground with his head between the wheels and worked at it from below and dropped oil upon himself. Then he took it away from me and doubled himself across it till he lost his balance and slid over on to his head. So, up and down, taking the support of the wall, taking the support of the tree, and lying down, putting the bicycle upon it. Every way he tried to do everything, but he failed. Even he put oil on himself. Then he lost his temperature and tried bullying the thing. The bicycle, I was glad to see, showed spirit, and the subsequent proceedings degenerated into little else than a rough and tumble fight between him and the machine. One moment the bicycle would be on the gravel path and he on top of it. The next, the position would be reversed. He on the gravel path, the bicycle on him. Now he would be standing flushed with victory, the bicycle firmly fixed between his legs, but his triumph would be short-lived. By a sudden, quick movement, it would free itself and turning upon him, hit him sharply over the head with one of its handles. So, the other thought, now maybe the bicycle will be okay. Everything will be alright. But it did not happen that. Then what happened? It happened that sometime he was on the bicycle was on him. At a quarter to one, dirty and dissolved, cut and bleeding, he said, I think that will do, and rose and whipped his broom. The bicycle looked as if it also had enough of it, which had received most punishment. It would have been difficult to say. I took him into the back kitchen where, so far as was possible, he cleaned himself. Then I sent him home. So the writer is telling at last what happened. He was lot of oiled. He made dirty his clothes, and he was not that much perfectly done everything. So at the last I sent him to the home by cleaning himself. So the author was not that happy what happened to his bicycle. So dear students, this is our bicycle lesson. You know all thing about a bicycle. It's a good lesson. You can learn, understand and read by yourself. Have a good day and thank you to all.